What is going on, YouTube people? Today, a full haul video from Heroes Con. I know a lot of the stuff you saw, some of the stuff you haven't seen at all. Some of the stuff you saw bits and pieces of shot from the iPhone while I was on the show floor. So I feel like I should do a proper what did I bring back from Heroes Con. It was outside the little bit of CGC nonsense. It was an absolutely amazing show. If you're in the comic books at all, I would highly recommend going. It's next year, big update. Next year, it is not on Father's Day weekend. They are moving it back 1 week. So it's like June 20th and 22nd or something like that. Make plans now. It's a great convention center. It's a great venue to have it in. It is much more comic book focused and artist focused and less pomp and circumstance, which is fine. It just depends what you want. Tons of great hotels downtown, tons of great places to grab food. Perfect setup all around. I'm hoping to see a bunch of you out there next year. I know I am already planning on going back next year. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I did, for the first time ever, at one of these shows, I did some stuff with artists. Now, the first one was one I was really excited for. This is Adam Kubert, big time Wolverine artist. He's done a bunch of other stuff too. But what I know him for is that 90s era Wolverine and some X-Men stuff as well. Did a ton of covers from when I was hardcore collecting back as a kid, reading off the newsstand. He had a convention exclusive variant of a redo of Wolverine 88 that you could see here of Deadpool stabbing Wolverine. He added on the signature, obviously, and also the Bloody Claws remark. So this here is not actually part of the book. He drew that while he signed it and then splattered the blood on it. So I picked up 2 of these. I was hoping the CGC witnessed them, but that was an absolute mess. So I am actually going to send these in for the new JSA label. To be quite frank, not super concerned about what they grade. I just want them slabbed up for protection purposes and to authenticate the auto. I will obviously be keeping one for sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the second one, but I figured someone somewhere would probably want this at some point in time, just given the absolute awesome cover and the exclusive nature of it. So I picked 2 of them up. Those will be going off to CGC very, very shortly. The other artist experience that I had, shout out to Fausto and Matt and Shane, had a booth at the con for all Marvel cards. Got to meet some other great folks as well. But on Saturday, they had Dan Dos Santos, artist of Marvel Masterpieces, the set that everyone lost their mind for last year. He was signing for free up to 2 items. So I brought 2 of my favorite cards from the set. One being the Kitty Pryde. This is the purple version out of 99. Absolutely gorgeous signature there in the yellow paint pen. I let Dan pick him out. He knows color match better than me, but of course, beautiful color match auto. That looks absolutely gorgeous on that card with the kitty. And then, of course, I had to get a Gwen. Here we have the What If Gwen out of 399. Once again, with the gorgeous light blue color match ink, matches her shoes, plays off the top border there with the edge of Spider-Verse. Just looks absolutely gorgeous. It's the same color as the webbing on her suit. Fantastic job. I love this artwork for one. Love this card. One of my favorite Gwen cards is this What If from Marvel Masterpieces. And then to get that signed is absolutely awesome. And like I said, that is out of $3.99. So we got those 2. On the comic book side, there's no real, well, there's a little particular order to these, but this was just a random pickup. I've wanted one of these for a while now. And then of course, X-Men 97 FOMO hit, boosted the price of this up. Didn't care. Just wanted to own the book. X-Men 25. Fatal Attractions. We got the Gambit hologram on the front there. This is the famous book where Magneto rips the adamantium from Wolverine. Obviously, spoilers for X-Men 97. That may or may not happen in the show. Everyone went nuts for this book, increased the price. I did not pay $200 for it. I got it for $180, which is about what they're going for. And once again, I didn't care. I just wanted to own one of these. I have my old copy from when I was a kid somewhere laying around here, but I wanted a nice clean copy of this. I would eventually like to put the whole Fatal Attractions run together in a CGC 9.8. I remember when this came out, I was 12 years old. This was a massive deal when Fatal Attractions went on in the X-Men universe. So that was a fun pickup there. This was a Sunday pickup as I was walking around Sunday morning, waiting to see if my book was going to pop. I only had about an hour on the show floor. Just something I kind of ran into. This was unplanned. New Mutants 87. First appearance of Cable. Sticker for $500. Actually got this for $450. So pretty solid deal there. I saw multiple versions of this book there. It's one I've always kind of wanted. And like I said, I kind of just last minute, I'm here last minute. Let me just grab something. So I snagged this. This one has gorgeous color. A lot of the ones that I saw on the show floor, the orange was very faded. This looks fantastic. The red/orange and the yellow and the blue just really pop in person. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice. I'm not like the biggest Cable fan in the world, but I love this New Mutants run from 87 to 100 when Cable comes and kind of levels up the New Mutants into what eventually turns into X-Force. Obviously, we have New Mutants 98 in there. I already own a copy of that. Some fantastic Rob Liefeld covers and McFarlane work in these books. I think I'm going to go for a little mini run of New Mutants of 87 through 100. I now have the two hard ones to get. I have 87 and I have 98. Those are the two pricey ones. The rest are pretty easy and should be relatively affordable from there. Even New Mutants 100, which is an iconic cover as well, is relatively easy to get. Very high census book. So it should be relatively cheap-ish to throw that one together. Next up, I've had an eBay save search for this forever. I absolutely love this book. It is one of my all-time favorite X-Men covers out there. And it is Uncanny X-Men 126 from 1979 in a CGC 9.8, white pages. Just a classic book. It's not a key. It's Proteus is in it. Mastermind's in it. It's part of the storyline from when they're on Muir Island. But always, always, always love this cover. It's kind of, like a fake giant size X-Men 1 with them all kind of bursting out of the center. Wolverine with the claws and everything. It's just great, great cover. I've wanted one of these at a 9.8 for a really, really long time. A lot of these are off-centered where you can kind of see the white of the back coming around to the front. A lot even in 9.8s because it doesn't take away from the grade per se. They had this stickered for $350. I got this for $325. Once again, basically paid about full market rate. And that is pretty common. It's not like cards where you could sometimes aggressively wheel and deal on stuff. Most people are going to price it. I shouldn't say most, but if they actually want to sell books, they're going to sticker slightly above like a 90-day average or fair market value. And then usually you could kind of go 10% off sticker fairly easily, which will usually put you right at market value to a little bit under. And that's usually where I feel comfortable buying. Because once again, all this stuff for me is not things that I am looking to flip. I am not buying these to try to make a percentage on. I'm buying these because I actually want to own them. And I think that is a very important distinction sometimes. All right, two left, and they're the big ones. This was the package deal done with Shortbox. They had these on consignment. Originally, I thought the one wasn't going to happen, so I pivoted to the second one and ended up getting them both in the same deal. First up, X-Men 94. in a CGC 9 or CGC 8.0. I originally was going to go for around a 9 on this, but this one kind of fell into my lap with the deal that I got in the other book that I packaged with it. This is basically the second appearance of the entire New Era X-Men team from Giant Size X-Men 1. Second appearance of Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler. I think it's like the third full appearance of Wolverine, if you want to get down that whole internet rabbit hole of a debate. Really, really good cover. Very, very classic book. This, for a lot of people, is where they basically, I mean, Giant Size X-Men 1 basically saved the X-Men as a book. They probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Giant Size X-Men 1 and resetting that. Pretty tough grade on this with an all-black cover. This is a pretty nice presenting copy. It doesn't have much. Same thing on this one. You'll see some where a lot of the white sticks out the side. On this one, there's very little down at the bottom that can really take away from it. I saw a really nice 9.0, but down towards the bottom here was a decent chunk of white showing, and I just couldn't. That drives me nuts on stuff like this. It really takes away from the eye appeal of the book. So a lot of people, their X-Men runs will start with X-Men 94. They will go from X-Men 94 and then at some point run it up through the Claremont run or into the more modern era with Jim Lee stuff, just depending on kind of how far they want to take it. But major X-Men key there. And then the crown jewel of them all, my copy of X-Men #1. 1/5 white pages, though, which is insane for this book. Spine's pretty beat up, obviously. It is a 1/5. You expect that. There's a tear there that goes through the cover. But the important part is it presents really, really well, in my opinion. There's a little bit of handwriting that got cleaned off on the front. Some staining, some creases. Once again, it's a 1/5. But for a 1/5, an entry-level copy, this part over looks absolutely great. The red on the X-Men looks really good. The red on the Magneto looks really, really good. The green in the logo box up in the corner. The X-Men themselves look absolutely fantastic. Little stain there on Magneto, but nothing crazy. Here's the back of the book. Not too bad. Once again, we're talking about a 1/5 here. But super, super excited to finally knock this one off the list. So essentially, they had this stickered for $4,200. They had this stickered for $950. These usually go for around $800-ish in an 8.0. A 1/5 prices varied from $3,800 to $4K. But on this low grade, it could really swing wildly on this stuff. So I'll give you an example. There was, I was looking at some 3/5s at this show that were, they should be around $7,000. Some people had them priced way higher than that. And yes, the spines were better set up. They were a more solid book, but this section of the book actually presented worse than the 1/5 copy that I got. Maybe it didn't have as many creases. It didn't have the tear in it, but a lot of them, the white was way more brown. They had a lot more staining on it. Just a lot. They had other issues going on with it where they did not present as clean as this one. So the package deal was this and the 94 for $4,800 cash. So from a, record keeping perspective, I guess I'm assuming I paid about $4K for this and about $800 for the X-Men 94. Now, will this be my final copy of X-Men 1? I don't know. At some point in time, maybe I would like to upgrade to like a 4.0 or something like that. But this knocks this one off the list for now. I am very, very happy with this copy. And now, honestly, everything is downhill for me from here. I have the X-Men 1. I have an X-Men 4, the first appearance of Scarlet Witch and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I have the first appearance of Juggernaut, the Sentinels. So I have a lot of those big key early X-Men books. I have X-Men 50, which is a pretty important one to have for an X-Men collection. I now have 94. I have Giant Size. I have 101, the first appearance of Phoenix. I have the entire Dark Phoenix line. I am still missing, so on the more expensive side of things that I need, there's still some critical first appearances in that sub 94. Like, I don't have the first appearance of Havoc, first Havoc in costume, like that sort of stuff. Some of the Alpha Flight stuff gets a little pricey in that mid-tier run. On the more modern side of things, I am missing like the first appearance of Sinister. I have the first appearance of Gambit. I have the first appearance of Jubilee. And then there's some other stuff kind of mixed into there. But part of this process now will kind of be sitting down and kind of reevaluating where I'm at, what I have, and kind of what I want to shoot for next, which will probably honestly be kind of starting to fill in holes and kind of figure out what gaps do I want to fill in between issues that I already have, and start whittling those things out. The lower numbered stuff like an X-Men 2, an X-Men 3, an X-Men 4 are important to me, but not direly important to me. I will get those later. I would rather get stuff like the first Havoc or some of that Alpha Flight stuff or some classic covers from the Claremont run before I kind of worry about that older, lower end, or I shouldn't say lower end, lower numbered stuff from the X-Men that aren't necessarily key books that I would basically just be looking to get to fill in. Though some of those are, you could get relatively reasonably priced in that era outside of the actual keys. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is reevaluation mode of what the plan is next. From a big key book perspective, I have most of the X-Men ones, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, this one and 94 were the two biggest ones I had left to get. So from a big book perspective, I might swing back into looking at some ASM stuff. I still want an ASM 50. I still want an ASM 129 at some point in time. First appearance of Punisher, first appearance of Kingpin. Listen, long term, I would love an AF 15, but let's not get crazy here. My wife let me slide on stuff like this. I don't know if I start pushing the buttons on a AF 15, that might get a little bit crazy. Funny moment at the show. We were walking past the booth and I asked to see an X-Men 140, which I knew would be way more expensive than what I wanted to spend, but it looked great. And the dealer happened to be very overpriced on it, and they handed it to me, and it was stickered for like $16,000. And they handed it to me. I looked at it, and they had a big sticker on it. And my wife just kind of like side-eyed me, like, "Excuse me?" When I handed it back and we walked away, she's like, "You about gave me a heart attack." So that was just a funny little moment on the show floor. But that's all I got. Excited to check this one off the list. Man, it feels good when you nail these big ones and bring them home, whether it's a card, a comic, a Marvel card, whatever it is that you're after. When you knock the big ones off, take a step back and enjoy it. I know sometimes the chase is almost more exciting than actually getting it, but sit back and enjoy it for a little bit. Don't let that feeling go away until you absolutely have to. That's all I got for you, boys and girls. Catch you on the next one. Peace.